I'm not talking to her. You know when she did her speech last week? She got up and started spelling TRIBE. Looking at me and say, I'm going to Prairie View.
Okay.
I don't think he's on quite yet.
Vice Mayor Orlando?
Yes.
Hi, we can hear you. We will be doing the
Perfect.
regular.
Thank you.
We'll be doing the regular meeting first, and
Okay, you got my note,
okay.
right?
Yes, I did get your note. So about
Thank you.
3 minutes.
Thank you.
You can keep talking for one more minute. Well, good evening and welcome to the City Council chambers. Tonight we have 3 separate meetings. So first, we're going to move up the regular meeting, of which we will be voting on the assessed value of the property evaluation. Then we will go to a Public Housing Authority Council, and then our regular study session, of which most of you are probably here for that. So we're saving the best for last today. And with that, let me call this meeting to order, and clerk, please take the roll.
Mayor Hartke,
Present.
Vice Mayor Orlando,
Here.
Councilmember Encinas,
Here.
Councilmember Ellis,
Present.
Councilmember Stewart,
Here.
Councilmember Harris.
Here.
Councilmember Poston.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Councilmember Harris, would you please lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, Council, it's taken us a while to get here. We've been, to those in our audience, we've started working on this budget after we passed a budget last year. So it really is a year-long process, and we're at the culmination of that with first and second votes this particular week. We have one agenda item, which is on action, which is passing the ordinance 5059. Council, what would you like?
Mayor.
Councilmember Stewart.
I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance number 5059, levying upon the assessed valuation of the property within the city of Chandler, Arizona, subject to taxation, a certain sum upon each $100 assessed valuation sufficient to raise the amount estimated to be required in the annual budget for the fiscal year ending the 30th day of June 2024.
Second that, Mayor.
Second.
So we've got a motion by Councilmember Stewart, a second by Councilmember Encinas. Council, any comments? All right, please vote.
Vice Mayor Orlando,
Yes.
motion carries unanimously.
All right, thank you. You're going to hear me gavel a lot tonight. Next on our agenda is the Public Housing Authority Commission. Clerk, would you please take the roll of the commissioners?
Chairman Hartke,
Present.
Vice Chair Orlando,
Here.
Commissioner Loring,
Present.
Commissioner Encinas.
Here.
Commissioner Ellis,
Present.
Commissioner Stewart,
Here.
Commissioner Harris.
Here.
Commissioner Poston.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, thank you. Clerk, do we have any unscheduled public appearances for our PHAC meeting tonight?
No, Mayor, we do not.
All right.
Commissioner.
Council, we have got 2 items on our agenda: approving of minutes and then authorizing the approval of write-offs, which is very light this particular year. Council, how would you like to, Commission, how would you like to proceed?
Chairman?
Commissioner Harris.
Yes, I would like to approve consent agendas for June 26, 2023, of consent agenda 1 and consent agenda 2.
Second that motion, Mayor.
All right, we'll give that to Commissioner Ellis. We have a motion and a second. Any comments, commissioners? If not, please vote.
We'll have to do a roll call.
Okay, voice vote. Thank you.
Vice Chair Orlando,
Yes.
Commissioner Loring,
Present. Yes, I'm sorry.
yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Commissioner Encinas,
Yes.
Commissioner Ellis,
Yes.
Commissioner Stewart,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris.
Yes.
Commissioner Poston,
Yes.
Chairman Hartke.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, and with that, that concludes our PHAC committee. And our last is our June 26th study session. We take separate roles because these all show up on different places online. So it's we're not just being redundant for redundant sake. So clerk, please take the roll.
Mayor Hartke,
Present.
I believe Vice Mayor Orlando is off the call now.
Okay.
Councilmember Encinas,
Here.
Councilmember Ellis,
Here.
Councilmember Stewart.
Here.
Councilmember Harris.
Here.
Councilmember Poston.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Very good. Our next in our agenda tonight is scheduled public appearances. We've got quite a few awesome recognitions tonight. And with that, I'd like to invite Councilmember Ellis to join me up front. So first, we would like to recognize our civic grads. And if I could have Ryan Peters and Alexis Apodaca come up. We believe that civic engagement is so important in our community, and it really sets the stage for the future of our community by getting people informed, engaged, and involved. That's why tonight we're celebrating the dedicated participants in this year's civic program. Civic is an interactive 13-session program providing Chandler residents with a behind-the-scenes look at city services. These participants took time out of their busy lives to meet with city leaders, tour facilities, and participate in interactive sessions to learn how the city runs. We're so grateful for each and every one of you. This is our third cohort of Civic in Chandler. And we're so glad that you had a burning interest and a deep desire to learn more about how your city runs. So with that, let's meet the participants.
Aaron Tippett. Joe Setliff. Susanta Saha. Bob Dalpy. Heidi Pekonen. Court Osbury. Ross Lemire. Monica Johnston. Mark Mount. Armand Sidhu. Ryan Lemire. Bernadette Gomez. Kelly Lemire. Ashley Namor. Richard Beans. Kelsey Brown. Diane Martis. Betty Ramirez. That is our group, Mayor. I appreciate all of the time that you all have put into the program. I know 6 months is a significant commitment to put into learning about your local government, but I appreciate it and the time that you've put into civic engagement and learning about each of our departments. You all have been extremely dedicated, so thank you all. And if we can gather for a picture, Stephanie will walk us through that.
Come on in, Alexis. Do we need some down?
Get right there in the front. Y'all know I'm here.
Done this a few times. Pull it in, pull it in. If you can see her, we cannot see you.
All right.
You can move just a little bit there, okay. I'm taking the pen because there's a lot of eyes. All right, thank you. Thank you.
Good to see you.
All right. Next, I won't even try to compare the excitement and energy of this with that because they're both just super exciting. We'd like to recognize the 2023 Miss Juneteenth pageant winners. So Rodney Love with South Chandler Self-Help, please come on up. Partnerships like this that we share with South Chandler Self-Help are really important to our community. And this is, in my opinion, has been a legacy group that has been serving our city and a local community with so many years and decades. So it's been really exciting to see the last several years with this organization bringing forth the Miss Juneteenth pageant, providing opportunities to our youth in the community and surrounding communities. So tonight we have both this year's and last year's Miss Juneteenth, and here to share some words with us. And Mr. Love, floor is yours.
First of all, over there. Okay.
Going up, Mr. Juneteenth. Go up.
You got it.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Evening, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank the mayor, the council members, especially Councilwoman Ellis and Councilwoman Harris for the support they've given South Chandler Self-Help over the years, especially with the Juneteenth Scholarship Program that we're running right now. Without their help, I don't think that we would have made this happen. So first of all, can we give them all a hand of applause? Now, with that being said, the next thing that's going to happen is I'm going to introduce you to Miss Juneteenth 2020, Miss Juneteenth Arizona 2022, and she's going to introduce you to Miss Juneteenth Arizona 2023, and I'm not going to have to say another word except hand out a check. So Miss Juneteenth Arizona 2022 is leaving us, Chandrea Norman. Served us very well. Tomorrow morning, she's getting on a plane and she's going to Prairie View A&M, starting her track on getting through college and going to law school. So we're going to miss you. I will be calling you to tell you made a mistake in choosing Prairie View.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Many in this room have watched me grow from an incoming senior in high school who was recently crowned as the first Miss Juneteenth of Arizona to be an alum at Chandler High School this year. Before and during my reign, I have accomplished many achievements, such as passing legislation in the city of Chandler, being a part of 2 political campaigns as a paid intern, president of Chandler's Black Student Union, becoming a National Honor Society of Dance and Spanish, and more. Though my reign has come to an end, I have much more in store for myself, and as Mr. Rodney had said, I will be attending Prairie View Agricultural and Mechanical University, the 3rd largest historically Black college in the nation, and the number 1 in Texas. The number 1 in Texas. That's big. I will be a political science major at the Marvin D. and June Samuel Brailsford College of Arts and Sciences, and I will be vying for the title as Miss Freshman of Prairie View A&M University this upcoming fall, and I do plan to run for many other Miss positions at the school as well. I leave for Texas tomorrow, so I'm really excited to be on the Hill finally. And additionally, I did receive my scholarship from the Alumni Phoenix Metropolitan Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And I have more scholarships coming through as well. And while it's emotional and bittersweet for me to hand off my reign, I am more than confident that I have worn my sash and my crown with style and grace. Though a proud California girl, the state of Arizona and the city of Chandler is my home away from home, and I'm so glad that they were able to be a part of my life, especially with the reign. They've been so hands-on and so supportive. And for our new queen, I'm very, very proud of you, and I feel like you're my bonus sister already. And we haven't even talked that much even. This is our second event with each other, and you are holding that crown with style and grace just as I did. So I'm very, very happy, and I'm very grateful to have you as a little bonus sister. You can always text and call me. I'm always a call away, even though I'm not in this state, because, you know.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Dre. Like you rocked that. My name is Sasha Revron. I am 15 years old and a rising sophomore who will be attending Basis Mesa. Um, I can't follow that up, but I'm here today to speak about my platform. Thank you for having me, by the way. I'm excited for my reign, and these are some pretty big shoes to fill. My platform is Amplify Her Voice. It is essentially my plan to increase civic engagement in the political process for young women of color, specifically Black women. With the help of South Chandler Self Help and hopefully this council, I would like to make this happen by reaching out to women in political spaces across Arizona and asking them to attend a panel where members of the community can come and watch this and hear about their stories of being women in politics, specifically women of color in politics, and their journey through it, and any advice or recommendations they have for those, so that in turn they can help. And then this will hopefully create relationships between me and them, and we can create a program where we can reach out to those in the community and create a program that serves overlooked youth in Chandler and across the state, and encourage them to get involved in our government, and encourage them to get involved in the political process. Thank you.
I lied. I'm back. So the Juneteenth Scholarship Program that we run each year is a scholarship program which consists of three elements. There's workshops that go on before the pageant. There's the pageant, and then there are all the appearances that come after. Sasha Revron is Miss Juneteenth Arizona 2023, and I'd like to present to you your check for winning the pageant. Yes.
All right, let's take a photo. Are there any others that should be in this photo?
Come on up.
Come on, Miss
Come on
Woods.
up here. Come on, Elaine. What you doing looking around? You too. Yeah, come on up here. Looking around trying to figure out.
All right, and our next presentation is a proclamation with Parks and Recreation Month. So can we have our Parks and Rec board members come on up, and Melanie Dykstra, and staff and present as well. You're pretty fast on that. All right. Whereas Access to parks, open spaces, and recreation is a fundamental human need that helps foster personal health, social inclusion, and a stronger community. In Chandler, we are fortunate to host a vast system of special places that provide countless recreational opportunities for residents and visitors alike. And whereas engaging in recreational activities can improve one's quality of life and overall well-being, in Chandler, we value the importance of social equity and ensure all people have access to the many benefits of parks, open spaces, and recreational activities. And whereas Chandler features various parks, open spaces, and trails for both active and passive outdoor activities, these assets provide recreational benefits and contribute to the city's stewardship of our natural environment and conservation efforts. And whereas Parks and Recs Month celebrates Chandler's spectacular parks and recreational services, along with the many volunteers and professionals working to raise awareness for this role they play in individual, community, and environmental well-being. Now, therefore, I, Kevin Hartke, Mayor of the City of Chandler, do hereby proclaim July 2023 as Parks and Recreation Month, and I invite all citizens to explore what Chandler Parks and Recreation has to offer and enjoy the benefits derived year-round from quality public recreation and park resources. Would you like to say anything?
Thank you. My name is Melanie Dykstra. I'm the chair of the Parks Board right now. And I know you might think that July is an odd time for it to be get out and enjoy your parks, but it's a national program. But here in Arizona, it is a wonderful opportunity because City of Chandler offers so many different opportunities for us. You can get out into the swimming pools, take water aerobics, which I'm missing tonight to be here, but I will be back at class tomorrow. But we have awesome rec centers. You have the nature centers, classes for kids and all ages for everything. We have ping pong enthusiasts here. One of our Parks Board members out there, she's a pickleball enthusiast. So we represent everyone and encourage everyone to continue to enjoy everything. I don't think probably anyone here has not been touched by Parks and Recreation, whether you know it or not. If you're ever on the trails or just enjoying the outdoors, that is part of this system. And so we encourage you to make sure that you continue to take your family out and enjoy all that Chandler has to offer.
Let's take a photo. Thank you all. That concludes our upfront, although we have one more service recognition.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. We do have one surprise retirement recognition tonight. Well, we knew it was coming, but he doesn't know that we're going to surprise him tonight. So, Mr. Derek Horn, if I could ask you to stand up real quick. Derek, I'll read something about you and then I'll meet you in the middle because we do have a gift for you as well. But Mayor and Council, I'm honored tonight to recognize my colleague and friend Derek Horn on his retirement from the City of Chandler, effective early next month. This week represents Derek's last council meetings after 5 years of service as Chandler's Development Services Director. Derek had an interesting path to joining Team Chandler. Trained as both an architect and an engineer, he worked in the private sector for Maricopa County and ultimately for the city of Phoenix, rising over a distinguished career to serve as its Director of Planning and Development Services. Upon his first retirement and writing his first book about Central Phoenix's architectural history, he took a temporary assignment as Chandler's Director of Transportation and Development, overseeing building safety, civil engineering, capital projects, and street maintenance. I was actually hired as Derek's supervisor during this time, and I'll never forget our first meeting for 3 reasons. First, he struck me as one of the kindest people I had met since joining Team Chandler. Second, for such a mild-mannered guy, he drove around in a very flashy sports car. And third, he told me that he was leaving in a month to write his second book and sail around the world. Fortunately, about 7 months later, Derek decided to come back to Team Chandler to stay. And at the time, he promised us 5 years, and he has kept his word. As director of the then new Development Services Department, Derek built a phenomenal team, hiring new managers in all of the divisions under his purview and putting in place processes that have made Chandler a great place to do business. Bringing his expertise in infill, redevelopment, and adaptive reuse at a time when Chandler has begun to rapidly urbanize, Derek earned a reputation as a problem solver and patient leader. Among his many accomplishments are the updated Air Park area plan, fully digital plan review, and seamlessly handling multiple corporate expansions, all of which contributed to Chandler recently being named the best city for business by the Arizona Chamber of Commerce. Of course, everyone knows Derek for his passion for history, and he deserves credit as the champion for Chandler's historic preservation program. Under his leadership, historic overlays were added to Chandler's first neighborhood and to landmark sites. And later tonight, in fact, we'll discuss making Chandler a certified local government with the State Historic Preservation Office. These accomplishments simply would not have been possible without Derek's tenacity and his vision. I'd like to argue, though, that Derek's real legacy in Chandler is the people he's mentored, promoted, and supported. Derek, your team and your colleagues have witnessed your professionalism, patience, humility, and sense of duty to serve the public, and we are all better for it. Personally, I will miss our talks about mid-century modern architecture, Star Trek, classic cars, world history, the Twilight Zone, and so many other things. As Derek departs to write his third book, this one about his hero, Winston Churchill, and spend more time with his family and his hobbies, we wish him all the best in his retirement. Thank you, Derek, for your outstanding service to the city and its residents.
All right. Next on our agenda tonight is looking at our consent agenda. But Derek, I think I speak for all of council in saying that you have been a consummate professional. You have given us great advice. You really, we've been so honored to have you as part of Team Chandler. And I recently was accepted into a Mayor's Institute of Creative Design, and I'd pretty much already picked a project. And by the sheer force of presentation, Derek had convinced me, not twisted my arm, but just by sheer presentation, it convinced me of a different project would be noteworthy to present and get some experts looking at. So I'm looking forward to going to Kansas City next month to be part of that. And you've left a deep, indelible mark on Chandler, and we are very grateful, sir. So thank you. All right, Council, with your permission, I'm going to go a little out of order for these, just because Councilmember Ellis called in one, and the person from Dignity Health has to be in Queen Creek for another presentation almost immediately afterwards. So let's go with item number 25. And you wanted a presentation and then questions, yes, Councilmember? Thank you. All right, Julie Alvarado.
Thank you, Miss Julie, for being here.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
I'm going to talk on my favorite topic. And that's right. That's what I thought. The only thing I'm going to clarify with you was wasn't ready for presentation and then questions.
All right.
So do you want me to I can extemporaneously give a summary, or what would you like?
I think a summary is will be worth it. The whole idea behind this was for you to come and talk about what does this represent and why is it that we're passing this grant through Chandler. Not only because it's going to benefit our community, but also what is it going to do for the school of medical school that we just opened here now in Chandler, and how it's going to prepare doctors for the future and things like that. If you may.
Whew, that was a mouthful.
So much in one. And I thank all of you, and I know in particular that you toured with me as we opened Tower D last year. So I appreciate all of your interest in Chandler Regional Medical Center and our parent company's Dignity Health. And then we're part of a national network that's Common Spirit Health. So let's just start with some real basics. Chandler Regional Hospital turned into Chandler Regional Medical Center, been serving this area for 60 years. And for those of you that may or may not know, it started with residents selling I'm going to date myself, and we'll see how many of you can remember. Trash cans used to be metal, and there were metal trash can lids. If anyone remembers that, you can probably Google it. It's probably under, antiques now. And they sold those metal trash can lids to raise the money to begin their hospital. And they began their hospital in a way that they were taking care of the workers in the fields, whether that was the dairy farmers or, the agricultural farmers. And we continue that today. So we're here not only to be an excellent medical center, but we're to do the mission and the outreach work that's needed in our community. So bringing us current, it's been tough coming out of the pandemic. Healthcare, you can Google that too. It is staff shortages, that's real. The great retirement, that's real. The costs are prohibitive. Supplies are hard to get. With that background, we're also, and we don't have study reasons yet, but anecdotally, I can tell you that Chandler Regional is still serving numbers. Currently, as you can imagine, in January, the winter visitors come in. Those are our high numbers. As we opened Tower D, and you toured with me, it was full immediately. Those numbers have stayed high. Those numbers have stayed high through June. Don't know. Some conjecture is people that waited during the pandemic are now doing elective procedures, a myriad of reasons, but the numbers are high. That building, that brand new tower's full. Now let's juxtapose that over the things that you think about, which is we've got all kinds of people at the Chandler Care Center in need. Arizona State University says roughly 500,000 of people in this area are underserved, uninsured. We need to keep doing the mission work. We need to keep doing the outreach. So I am very proud to represent our president and a leadership team of about 13 people that said, heck, we're going to try and do all of this at the same time because our city needs this. As we grow faster and faster and faster, you still need excellent, high quality healthcare. And you don't want to hear about our staff shortages, I'm certain, right? And you don't want to hear about our trouble. You want to walk through the door, you want to receive human kindness and the highest level of care you can. So let me give you, might be preaching to the choir, but 2 little secrets. Did you know that Chandler Regional Hospital is the busiest level 1 trauma center in the county? She's nodding. Did I catch anyone else? Okay. And I made my president repeat that because I said, what if I'm standing at a community meeting like this? I need to understand that's by visits. Greatest number of visits in the entire county. Let that sink in for the native Arizonans. Chandler Regional. Number 2, in our Common Spirit nationally, 300 hospitals, we serve the most COVID patients. You didn't see that on the news, and you saw New York and a few other things. We were grateful for that. We had a lot to do, and we didn't need extra attention. But think about that and let that sink in. Those people that I work with, these incredible clinicians and doctors, serve the most COVID patients right here in Chandler, Arizona. Don't have the statistics for why to that one either. Some of these puzzles will remain puzzles, but the facts remain as they are. So therefore, that new physicians and train them, right? It's often called graduate medical education, or GME for short, but we're training the new physicians. Hopefully, the highest level of quality, highest level of human kindness, and with a whole lot of thought towards cultural sensitivity. We have some great partners in our local tribes here and the nations that are right next door to us, and they help a lot with some really incredible cultural competencies. And we could go into many, many other partners who've also risen to the occasion and come into Chandler to lend their support. So I hope you can see that bringing in physicians and training them, and studies show almost 60% of them will stay here. Directly to your question about Midwestern University and the other universities here, we're going to be able to give them their residencies. They won't have to leave. And the other residency programs, there are a couple here in the Valley, they're full. Our partners at St. Joe's, they partner with Creighton, they're full. So with a shortage of 250 physicians right here in this area, this seems like a really important thing to do for our community, even with the background of the constraints that we're operating under. Obviously, philanthropy plays a big part in that. So to have a simulation center, the top of the top, the best of the best, you know, I think about my teenage son, he puts on his virtual reality and woo, it's a whole nother world. Shouldn't our doctors be able to train like that? The technology is available. But as a charity hospital giving out millions in charity care and free care, we have to turn to philanthropy. So this is directly speaking to the equipment that would go into a simulation center to train these physicians. And then another little important fact, of the 28 physicians that just arrived, we haven't yet reached 50% women, but really proud that we've reached 30% women. They're multicultural. They speak many languages. They're actually from all over the world, although a heavy little dose towards some local physicians who just graduated. They'll be here in our residency program, trained by some amazing doctors. And then think about this for a moment. We've opened the Chandler Care Center, the pediatric clinic. Well, that's run by volunteer doctors, and they're busy. You following me? There's 28 new baby doctors that are available, and they're dedicated to us, and they're here, and they're excited, and they're enthusiastic, some of them bilingual. They'll be out in the Chandler Care Center. So that's a direct benefit to the new residents who've just arrived. I'm going down my head with your questions.
I think you answered pretty much every
Am I
single
getting
one of
close?
them. No, you actually done all of them, and I really feel proud tonight because I'm a product of this. I started my career at Chandler Hospital, and to hear all we have accomplished, and to the place right now where we can have our own simulators like this to train doctors.
Right.
I've never thought we would have gotten to where we are now. And so here we are tonight.
Little Chandler Regional, I know.
It's definitely a point of pride for me, and I wanted our city to be aware that this is happening right here in Chandler, and it's happening because of people like you and those who have dedicated their lives to work through that. And I'm more than happy to say yes on this coming through.
Thank
But
you.
I just wanted to make sure that our people of Chandler are well aware of what's happening right here, right now on Fry Road in Dobson.
It shouldn't be a best kept secret.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate
Anybody
that.
else had any other questions? Or
Thank
I know
you,
a lot
Julie.
of you have toured, and I appreciate all your support.
Council, any
Thank you,
additional
Ms. Jolene.
questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Drive safely.
Say hi to Mayor Wheatley for us. All right, next, item number 11, called in by Councilmember Stewart, looking for presentation and questions related to certified local government designation. All right, look who's coming.
Thank you, Mayor.
He's still working.
We weren't going to let you get off that easy.
And you thought you were done with me.
Yeah.
Just pull this up. There we go.
Okay, well, first, if the mayor would indulge me, I'd like to thank the city council, mayor in particular, for the nice words tonight. Appreciate it. It's been an honor serving Chandler, and I appreciate the support of the city council for other things we brought to you, even the strange ones that we brought. So thank you. I'd like to thank the city manager for your wonderful testimonial. Very much appreciated. I'll miss our discussions too on all sorts of cultural things that few people understand. Okay, talk a little bit about certified local government. This is resolution 5705. And our request is the city council authorize the mayor to enter into a participation agreement, basically an intergovernmental agreement, to designate Chandler as a certified local government, or we call it CLG for short. The Historic Preservation Ordinance we adopted a couple of years ago, and all the other activities we've been engaging in the last several years, qualifies the city to be part of this program.
The Certified Local Government Program is a state program. It was established a number of years back by the National Historic Preservation Act and is administered by the State Historic Preservation Office, affectionately called SHPO. A CLG can receive specialized assistance for its historic preservation programs. This advice is advisory. It also is eligible for grants from the state for historic preservation projects. Matches would be required, but the matches can be either in cash or in-kind contributions. A CLG advises the SHPO on state historic sites and the State Historic Sites Review Committee on nominations to the National Register of Historic Places. This committee meets 3 times every year. A CLG would continue to enforce its own HP ordinance and engage in HP activities like we've been doing, surveys, inventories, and designations. And we would update the SHPO every year on our activities. That's the action, that's what is required. Resolution 5567 last year authorized staff to make the application for CLG designation, which we put the package together, discussed it with the SHPO staff, submitted it, they accepted it, and now we're taking the next and last step. There is no cost to the city other than grant matches, which is voluntary. The city HP program is independent from the state. That means we have our own ordinance, our own rules, our own practices. The state does not run our program, we do. And the city can withdraw if it can no longer support the program. So that's a brief overview of the program and open for any questions or feedback.
Councilmember Stewart.
Thank you, Mayor. Derek, thanks for the presentation. Thanks for your service over the 5 years. You're the only director over that area that I've known, and you've done a tremendous job. You know, so much so that I know this CLG that we're going to hopefully implement here. The Silk Stocking neighborhood was something that was kind of the precipice to all of this, right? I mean, we were able to sort of designate that as a historic neighborhood. That was one of the first neighborhoods in Chandler. Then it would be called the suburbs of downtown, and it's walking distance from here. Do you see other areas where this is going to be, is it mostly going to be in downtown, or do you see this in any part of the city that has some historical relevance to it? And when this goes into place, how quickly do you think things will get ramped up and committees and all those things?
Okay, well, we're already working on what the CLG would require. So Silk Stocking did initiate our whole historic preservation program, and they're still working on their designation. They're almost there, but they are on the National Register of Historic Places too. We have our 2 designations that are almost over the finish line, McCulloch Price House and the Goodyear Canal. There are other areas of the city, though, that I think would be appropriate, like for us is Pueblo Alto, we also call Hightown. Great location for either National Register nomination or our designation, or even both. Southside Village, which we just designated last year. I think there are areas in Southside that would be eligible for preservation districts, and also it could be eligible for a National Register nomination too. There's some beautiful mid-century neighborhoods north of Chandler Boulevard, what we call North Chandler, and they would be eligible if they're interested as well. So this is a few of the examples. And of course, we have a wonderful historic downtown with buildings that date back over 100 years, and it's still vibrant and active.
Well, thank you for doing this, and thanks again for all you've done. This will leave quite an indelible mark on the city, and this is part of your legacy, so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Council.
Council, any additional questions or comments? All right. Thank you, Derek.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council.
All right. Next up is item number 19, called in by Council members Poston and Stewart, talking about our IGA with ASU for business incubation. So got someone making a presentation. All right.
Mayor and City Council, I would like to make some opening remarks on the proposed intergovernmental agreement with Arizona State University. The City Council has established a vision of Chandler being a place for entrepreneurship, innovation, and technology. This is a key part of the strategic framework that you recently adopted. City Council has also recognized the importance of establishing partnerships with higher education, which staff has worked to do. The proposed intergovernmental agreement seeks to further City Council's vision for Chandler by providing opportunities for local entrepreneurship through a strengthened relationship with Arizona State University. ASU's plan for the Chandler Endeavor program is community-oriented. ASU is looking to impact more local entrepreneurs and residents, looking to engage with 1,000 people through this Chandler Endeavor ecosystem. It embraces the mission of growing our Chandler entrepreneurial ecosystem. ASU will be using its strong relationships with employers and other resource providers to embed this program in the business community. And it will be able to integrate with other ASU resources, both within the ASU Chandler Innovation Center facility and university-wide for the benefit of our local Chandler entrepreneurs. So with that said, I would like to introduce Kristen Slice. She is the Director of Community Entrepreneurship at ASU, and she will be our Chandler Endeavor Program Manager. She has a brief presentation and can answer any questions.
Thank you, Michael. And then I've asked Michael to stay up here so that he can do some quick switching around on the PowerPoint presentation. So, Michael, if you don't mind driving away. All right. That one, right? Yep. There we go. Good evening, Mayor. Hi, City Council. I'm excited to speak with you guys tonight. The City Council has set forth a vision for the city of Chandler that innovation is so woven into its very DNA that you call it its lifeblood. So it should be no surprise because the connection between innovation and entrepreneurship is very close. It is how many individuals take innovation to create better lives for themselves, their families, and their community. So it should be no surprise that the city of Chandler has elected so many entrepreneurs to its city council as demonstration of this very close connection. Now, the challenge is previously models that have looked at how to support entrepreneurs and innovation at the same time have been limited by a model of incubation that was created by investors who wanted to select a few winners so they could get the highest ROI on their individual investment. It's no surprise that this model doesn't work for the over 3,900 small businesses that exist in the city of Chandler. So how might we take the resources and abilities of the #1 university for innovation in the country and combine that with a city whose very lifeblood is innovation to create something new? An entrepreneurial ecosystem that serves everybody to help them individually realize their own entrepreneurial dreams. Our solution is Chandler Endeavor. To talk to you a little bit about Chandler Endeavor and what we're proposing tonight. Is that moving forward? Look at that, it was close. There we go. It really comes down to how do we leverage all of the amazing resources that come from being part of ASU? You've all seen the bevy of logos that go into it. How do we take all of these resources and make them accessible for everybody? Well, the model we have put together is fairly simple. Once a month, we have a collective community event. We're putting together asynchronous materials that we send out at the beginning of the month that help all entrepreneurs gain access to decision-making tools that are best utilized by high-growth, innovative ventures, but put them in a framework that they can understand and apply it to their business on their own timeline, creating a flexible pathway for all entrepreneurs and small business owners in Chandler to participate and get that access to information. Then we provide them the opportunity to actually apply it, coming together once a month to practice those skills while connecting with critical resources and each other and learning from other entrepreneurs who have done the same productive pathway along the way. And all of that is open to everyone in the Chandler ecosystem. Then we're going to identify a cluster, a few entrepreneurs that are in a similar space in their development and similar industry, and continue to accelerate their growth by pairing them with one of the many mentors across the Chandler ecosystem and ASU ecosystem, and help them learn from each other, supporting each other during the challenging journey that is entrepreneurship. That's the model. It looks a little bit different than what's already out there. So how do we know that it's going to work? Well, much like the entrepreneurs that we support, we have actually tested this model. We went out there and said, will this work in Chandler? And I'm proud to say what we have found is that it absolutely works in Chandler. For the last 3 months, we have ran a series called Chandler Endeavor Embark. Over 3 sessions, we put out the call. At each session, we had 75 plus entrepreneurs show up to engage with each other. Not only did they engage with each other, they engaged with over 45 different mentors and industry resources that we could provide here in Chandler. In addition, we had 30 different applications come in, all for our seed funding grant of $3,000 of non-dilutive funding that went to a graduate of Chandler High School who went on to ASU, has developed his venture, and is now growing it out of his parents' bedroom. We're excited to be able to bring these resources. And so how do we know this is going to work? Because we tracked the measurements that it took to get here. I want to share with you a couple of details about Chandler Endeavor Embark series. Now, this might sound like a bit of a flex, but I think it's important to see these stats because it gives great evidence of how we approach what our evidence-based approach, the data and metrics that we track, use to make sure that it's not just us thinking that a program is working well. So as I mentioned, at each session, we had a growing number of entrepreneurs. No big deal. Getting 85 people to an entrepreneurial event in June in Phoenix is a really big deal, right? So there was a huge demand for it out in the community. We also got a net promoter score of 88%. For those of you that aren't familiar with a net promoter score, it's Gallup's way of measuring quality of experience and customer service. The industry standard for a good net promoter score in education is 60%. And we came away with 88% and the highest survey results that we've actually had at an event in our program. So that's how we know it's going to work, but don't take my word for it. Here's just a few quotes from the surveys that were returned from the participants of those programs. I'm excited to be able to take these resources from ASU and to put it in the hands of all of the amazing entrepreneurs that are out here in Chandler and to work with each of you. Let's go Endeavor. And I think with that, we have time for a little bit of questions.
Great presentations. Let's start with Councilmember Poston.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you for that presentation, Kristen. I really appreciate it. I actually attended a couple of the Embark sessions myself because I wanted to see for myself, and I can attest to the fact that there was a lot of energy in the room. I did want to say you showed me in this presentation exactly some of what was related to some of the questions I had in terms of the metrics and how we measure the success of this, because this is a good investment by our residents into the business community, and especially the small business community, which is so important to Chandler. And finding a good and creative way to support those businesses is really helpful. My question to you, it's more related to the incubator series. Do you already have businesses targeted to bring in? That's been a bit of a challenge, I believe, for this kind of thing in the past. And whether you can announce some tonight or not, if you have some parameters on what types of businesses they are, how many we'll get. And then I'd also be interested to hear what your expectation of those businesses would be in terms of they will not just be staying there forever.
Sure. Excellent questions. Thank you, Councilwoman. So a couple of them. So one, we use this as our beta test across the board, right? So we reached out to lots of ventures in Chandler and said, can we engage with them? Because we know that that's been a challenge in the past. And as we saw, we had many of them come and engage in the Embark series itself. It was also a test to see, can we get some of the legacy entrepreneurs, people who've had amazing ventures that have grown up here in Chandler, come in and engage as mentors and share their stories. And so we did look at that and track who showed up, and if we reached out to them, would they come? And the overwhelming answer is yes, they did. And we are still having an open call for innovators. So in short, everyone who applies is now part of the incubator. We have it designed so everyone has access to the resources. And then once we see if there's a group of people, especially around 6 to 10 ventures in a similar stage and similar industry, and of course we've done our due diligence, we have a fair guess on what those ventures will be. We're going to make sure that they're in the communication pipeline. I've also reached out to them individually. We've asked them questions about what are their needs? What are the gaps that are in Chandler? So a lot of the programs that we've put together have been based off of the needs of those individual ventures. But we're putting out the call, everybody's welcome, and that call should go out in August.
And then could you maybe talk a little bit about how you'll be looking to ensure that when they do grow and outgrow the incubator, that we'll be ensuring as much as possible that they'll be growing those jobs and those businesses right here in Chandler?
Absolutely, great question. So the short version is by having a hyper local approach. So what that means is an entrepreneur will not leave the community if we can actually do our job right, which is give them the resources, support, and community connections that will make it valuable for them to stay here. We plan on plugging them into the many robust organizations that you all have worked and your economic development team have worked so hard to have here in Chandler. If their clients are here, they ain't going anywhere, right? We're also in making sure that we embed it again within the community. So we're trying to find, and we're being very intentional on, we want founders who are part of Chandler already, who have a piece of the vision, who are looking to really grow a venture here and give back to the community. A piece of the buzz that you heard so often when in those events that you felt, and I'm glad you felt that, was our focus and our approach is really about the community, not about incubation. So from the front of the room, we establish that time and time again. I say, my job is to stand up here and be the ringleader, but it's your guys' show. How do you help each other? How do you give back? It's the reason we have so many diverse mentors come to the table, because everybody will find someone to connect to. So the way that we do it is by doing our job of incubation well and making sure that they have value never to leave Chandler.
Thank you. And one final question.
Mm-hmm.
You had a number, 1,000 people
Mhm.
coming to, that's a pretty lofty goal, which is great. Are you talking about 1,000 unique visits?
Yes.
Okay.
So it is a lofty goal in comparison to what has happened in the past. And that is, before we put that number in, what I can tell you is we're running a comparable program in the city of Peoria. And in the last year, we've served 2,200 entrepreneurs and innovators. And so that's anybody that comes in and engages with the resources and what that looks like. It's a way to show what the traction is. Now, Peoria is a much earlier ecosystem than Chandler. So I think 1,000 entrepreneurs and innovators served is definitely a doable number for us.
Okay. Well, thank you. And I look forward to having you back and hearing some of your success stories back here.
I look forward to having you as part of the program.
Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Stewart.
Thank you. Great questions, Jane. And Kristen, gosh, we go back, what, 5 or 6 years? I remember going over to Gangplank and then heading over to the, what was it called? The makerspace over here that we're going to actually do a lot of these programs
I
from.
hate to correct you, city council member, but 5 years is a real conservative estimate on when that was. That was closer to like 10 years ago.
It's been a while.
Yeah,
But-
no big deal.
But I remember going to startup events down in Phoenix and thinking to myself, we've got all of these engineers and kids of engineers in this community here with Intel and all the other groups that they have. Why aren't we creating these collision spaces right here in Chandler? And so it's been a labor of love. And I'm so grateful that ASU is involved, because I can see just from your presentation that vision that Mayor and the rest of council kind of saw with me at that time is actually coming to fruition, because this can really happen in a community of innovation like Chandler. And so I'm excited about this. I did have a couple of questions, though. When we're talking about inventors and entrepreneurs, did I see that there was 1,000 angels that are connected with the ASU entrepreneurial program?
More than that. So there's
Oh
a
my
thousand.
gosh.
There's 1,000 ventures that we have served through and I'm part of the J. Orrin Edson Entrepreneurship and Innovation Institute.
Okay.
So from our institute, we serve 1,000 ventures that include community, faculty, staff, to give them access to our funding network. All of the participants of Chandler Endeavor will also have access to that funding network. What I do know, and I don't know if it's 1,000 that's in there, but what we do know is every semester we give away $300,000 to $400,000 in non-dilutive seed funding, and all of that is donated by angel investors that support our program. And so it's a great way to leverage the resources. And we're also really committed to, we know that in Chandler there are angel investors, there are engineers, there are people who are interested in giving back to the community. It's a piece of the benefit of having a community open model. Several of them showed up to Chandler Endeavor Embark series. And so we're hoping to also cultivate a local community of angel investors to also build that mentoring connection while giving access to that seed funding.
That's great. That's just so good to hear. I gotta thank Josh and the Economic Development Department with the city for sort of taking this and then finding the right partner. It's something we've been trying to do for a long time. And I think working with ASU, working with the other organizations like the Chamber and things like that, we are really going to create that collision space for entrepreneurs to really find their way, find the track that they need to be successful, and then maybe that next Google, that next Dell, well, that's an older company, but that next big company could come out of Chandler and continue that ecosystem, creating opportunities and jobs for our community. So thank you.
You got it. Thank
Yep.
you, Councilmember.
Councilmember Ellis.
Thank you. So finally,
Mm-hmm.
we are getting somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It was far-fetched to say that I have been drumming these drums for 3 years now. And finally, I get someone standing in front of me from ASU saying that we're getting something done. And so my question right now is, why did it take so long?
Sure. Good question. And I would say that my team has been part of the ACIC Center for a while, but the incubation portion has always been underneath a separate contract. So a piece of the challenge has been, how do we make sure that we can fund a model like this? It does take people to make these kind of things happen. And so that hasn't been traditionally something that has been housed. How we've operated all of our partnerships across ASU is whenever it comes to entrepreneurship or kind of socially embedded within the community, those are usually funded by outside partners. So a piece of why I'm here today is because we're able to actually create that funding to create that avenue for us to engage with it.
Thank you so much for answering that question. The other thing that I wanted to impress on you is the fact that I am hearing the word community, community, community. And to me, that's what we wanted all along, that the community will be part of this, that it will not just be a few who have an idea, that we are trying, as you said, trying to really take the top of the crop, and then the rest feel that they are discouraged. They can't get anything done because nobody is really helping them and pushing them. I am going to be around. I can tell you I'm watching, and I will be asking some questions. I will be showing up to see what's going on over there and how it's going to happen. And again, congratulations on this new endeavor. And I know that it's going to work because from your passion and from the fact that you have given us great statistic of what you've already accomplished somewhere else. So I am sitting here waiting to see what's going to happen in Chandler. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Harris.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here and taking the time to do the presentation. You know, being a part of the council for the last 3 years, we've talked about the endeavor entrepreneurship. As you know, that I'm a founder of an organization that helps supports entrepreneur. And it's next year will be like 10 years, and we've seen ups and downs. I've seen it all. I've probably heard it all as well. And I know that there is a space there. City of Chandler, really, the investment that the residents are going to make for this particular program, I guess I would be in a position not to, being that I'm an entrepreneur, I would say openly that I'm going to expect and demand results because I feel like the program has let me down in the last 3 years since I've been on council, and probably before then. So I'm excited about what the next level is going to be. I'm excited about what you're going to do. I'm not as excited about the thousand count number, and the reason why I share that openly is because ASU services over 100-some thousand people. So 1,000 is that's not even a percentage. And I guess I would expect more, and I know that Peoria has had great success, but you're talking about a new program that's going to need a lot of marketing. And I didn't hear that in the presentation, but I know you're going to work on it. But I wanted to make sure that I'm not trying to be the Debbie Downer. I just have a lot of knowledge, experience, and I've been in this game for a very long time. I've been an entrepreneur for over 20 plus years. I haven't worked for a corporate America until I became a council member, and that's how long it's been. So I carry this weight to represent everyone out there, but I shifted back on you because if this program doesn't turn out the way I expect it to turn out this year, I'm not going to advocate for it to move forward with my colleagues. So when you go and do the work, I'm asking you to do the work, use your resources. We are your resources to support the program, and I will support it as well. But this is in terms of where I stand with this program. If it doesn't produce what I expect it to produce, I'm going to be asking to go a different direction. That's just me talking because that's what I feel. Because this takes time, and I haven't seen
the entrepreneurs that we expect to come out of the city of Chandler blooming and starting here. I have not seen that ROI come back to us. And that may not be on you, that may be more internal stuff, but I haven't seen the ROI that I expect. So I'm going to work with you. I want to be a good partner. I just want to make sure that I express that, and I want to make sure that as the Chandler residents hold us accountable, I hold our partners accountable, and I know we're going to do a good job together. And being an entrepreneur, I'm positive, and I know this is going to be a turn leaf, but I wanted to make sure I share that with you so it can be reflected that there is a heavy expectation, and there has been a lot of letdowns in the past. Now I want to see it go to the next level. So I'm sure I met you, we spoke, we've met. So I know underneath your leadership, we're going to see even greater from ASU. So thank you again for taking this on, and thank you again for what you're doing. Really appreciate it. Thanks, ma'am.
Councilmember Encinas.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. Very quick question. It's good to hear the success of your attendance right now with the Endeavor project. I'm looking forward towards the future of that. How is there a plan or a strategy to maintain that interest in gaining new participants? What is the framework for that?
Yeah, and so that sounds similar to Councilmember Harris's concern around marketing and outreach and what that looks like. Multiple prongs. Do I think that we will have 75 people at every monthly event moving forward? No, I don't. Intentionally, our programs have been designed to be asynchronous, meaning entrepreneurs go through different times where they have different focuses. They can't come to monthly events. So we've created multiple pathways to allow them to still get the support, to still get the tools, and have that flexibility with their own life within that. And we know that moving forward, we intentionally design the programs to be the ones that everybody speaks to everybody. Funding, marketing, getting money and raising and pitching. So we've had those people now engaged in the ecosystem. We know who they are, we have their emails, we know how to reach out and engage with them, and we've established a rapport. Our plan is to continue to grow on that. We know as we go into the next 6 months, the next series is not going to have as many people attend because it's some nuts and bolts things. And what we're going to do is really ramp up the outreach. So that's what we were able to do with strategic partners in the community. And knowing that this was a beta test, we did not put the full power of the ASU marketing vehicle behind it, right? I like to underpromise and overdeliver because I know what it is to work for entrepreneurs. And so we expect that as we continue to push out the marketing, as we continue to enroll people, we should see more and more outreach. And in my experience, it is a shared responsibility between us and the leaders in the community. I will be in full transparency communicating, talking, and sharing the information, and knowing that the more that we can spread the word, the better. And the more intentional we are in our communication, especially around when we're talking community, it doesn't need to be about the program. What we need to find is a couple of key success stories. Entrepreneurs who are in this community who are doing the work that inspire and move conversations forward. And what I'm going to ask is for City Council to continue to amplify that and to give me feedback on who are the movers and shakers in the community. Who are the people that represent the people that you are elected to lead that are also entrepreneurs, right? Maybe they don't define themselves as that quite yet. Maybe they're an artist, maybe they're a nonprofit, maybe they're a small business, but they're taking an innovative approach to move a novel idea forward. The more that we can set that, the more that we can amplify the voices of entrepreneurs, I have full confidence that we're going to be able to build that over time. And entrepreneurial ecosystem building on average takes 20 to 25 years. So that's what all we've learned from cities across the country. Now, I can't speak to the organization that was responsible for the incubation prior, but I do know that this is a long-term game. And we're going to continue to deliver quality programming to meet expectations and exceed them so that we can make that 20-year sustainability run.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I look forward to that evolving outreach. Thank you.
And I'm really pleased to see the space being activated and used in this fashion. And I've watched our incubation efforts kind of rise and fall through the years, and we're eager to join you in this process. And I do see it's us and you and our community to really raise up the dreamers, the entrepreneurs across our cities. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Our last item called in by Councilmember Encinas, talking about the GRIC grant for police forensic equipment. Chief Duggan's going to make a presentation.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. This grant is the fourth grant that we've received in the last 5 years from the Gila River Indian community. So I just want to express our appreciation and how grateful we are for their support over the years. This particular grant will enable us to purchase 2 portable, really handheld or narcotics analyzers. This device is about the size of a large phone or a small tablet. It weighs about a pound, but it's able to analyze over 500 different types of drugs. And the results are produced real time, and the evidence is accepted. Well, the results are accepted as evidence by the county attorney's office. But the 2 major benefits of having this device is, number one, it will reduce the number of cases that our crime lab has to analyze. So they can focus on those very serious, difficult cases. But perhaps most importantly, it provides great safety to our officers, because these devices do not require our officers to really handle the drugs. Drugs come in packages, whether in plastic or paper or glasses or glass. This device has a laser which penetrates those packaging devices, so the officers don't have to handle the drugs, and a lot of the drugs out there are lethal. So it's a great enhancement to officer safety and also for our lab technicians.
Councilmember Encinas.
Thank you, Chief, for giving us further explanation of that. I did want to highlight the efforts of your department in obtaining this grant and these funds for our city and for our residents. And especially, as you mentioned, having this being a safety caution for your department, so members aren't handling these materials or substances. 2 quick questions. Is this something that we already use within the department, or is this going to be something totally new that's coming, innovative style type of thing? And then do we know the accuracy of that laser when it's checking these substances?
This is not new technology. We've had similar devices. We have 2 presently in the department. They're close to 10 years old. So this is there are new capabilities with this new device. It's from the same vendor, TrueNarc. We'll be able to do more with these, but it's not new to the police department. We've been utilizing this in our crime lab and our narcotics unit. These devices, one will go to the crime lab, so we'll have an additional device, and the other one will be available to our patrol officers. As far as the accuracy, I can't give you those numbers specifically because I don't want to misspeak, but the evidence that's collected, the results are accepted as evidence by the Maricopa County Attorney's Office. So that will lead to the accuracy of it. So this is all preliminary testing. If it needs to go to trial, then those drugs then would be tested, if necessary, secondarily by our crime lab. So this is a preliminary, basically street test.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I have no further questions. Thank you so much, Mayor.
Council, anything else? Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Council, that's the last item called in. On Thursday, we will vote on the consent agenda, as well as have 1 item on our action agenda, which is the council budget amendments. And my thought on that currently is Stephen's going to come up and bring a brief presentation. And if you have any questions on any of the specific items, we'll answer those and then vote on those as a whole, unless any of you decide to pull one out and vote on that separately. So with that, that concludes our meeting tonight. We'll see you on Thursday.